Well, hello and welcome. My name is Mark Epner. I'm a Chicago-based pilot with over half of my 2,000 plus hours in a Cirrus SR-22. Currently, I fly this 2011 normally aspirated G3, but also fly other aircraft when the opportunity presents itself. I love flying every bit as much as you do and look for ways to share that common bond through multiple paths, including this channel, as well as Simple Flight Radio, which you can find at simpleflight.net. My goal for the channel is to share my passion for aviation with others that share that same sentiment and do so with an eye towards proficiency, safety, and fun. Well, hello. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than you're used to from me. I still want to share my experiences in the hope of adding to your skills or knowledge, whether you're a pilot or not. But today, the experience comes from the passenger seat rather than from the left seat. And the genesis of this video came to me about 53 years ago, even though the camcorder wasn't invented until some 11 years later. So in September of 1971, my mom and dad celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. And because it was their silver anniversary, they gave my two brothers and me a silver mug engraved with a message commemorating their anniversary. It was the first time I had been given a gift in honor of someone else's celebration. And if my basement wasn't such a mess, I'd show you that mug right now because I know it's downstairs. But similarly, in 1989, I was one of the winners of a sales contest at work. The VP of sales said he hated giving salespeople cash awards because it was easily forgotten. Instead, he gave each of us a Rolex, saying he wanted us to remember the effort we made and the results we achieved every time we checked the time. I wear that watch to this day. In each of those examples, the goal was to create meaningful memories to carry with you throughout your life. And that's what today's video is all about. Recently, I celebrated a milestone birthday, and my two sons suggested we get the three families together by getting a beachfront Airbnb in which the 12 of us could not only celebrate the birthday, but spend some quality time together. It was at that point my memories of those special events I just referenced came flooding back to me. This was my opportunity to create some lasting memories for both children and grandchildren alike. Beyond the Airbnb, I always had a dream of chartering a jet to fly my wife and I to Cedar Rapids to pick up my oldest son, his wife, and their 4 children, then continue on to Kansas City to pick up my younger son, his wife, and his 2 children. And then all of us jet off to our destination. My mission was set. Never having done such a thing before, I started with the internet and branched out from there. I learned very quickly that 12 people requires a heavy jet, something like the Gulfstream 4. And that Gulfstream doesn't like short hops, and it's way out of any reasonable budget I could put together. So trying to be creative, I looked into starting with smaller aircraft for the first 2 legs, or even driving for one of them, and then working my way up to the Gulfstream for that last leg. Turned out that was a lot of moving parts, and I still didn't get to an affordable solution. Then a broker suggested why not charter a Saab 2000, which was, quote-unquote, I'm giving you air quotes, relatively cheap, but to me it felt like a regional airliner and therefore really wasn't worth any money, even though the cost was much more affordable. It was at that time my son in Kansas City said he had already made airline travel for he and his family, and that I shouldn't worry about making them part of this bucket list item. So that removed the KSC stopped and took us down to only 8 passengers. And I admit I felt kind of guilty leaving that family out, but he had said it was okay, and I knew we were going to spend a week together with him. So let's move forward. While it made the experience more affordable, the complexity of options remained. And I just didn't know how could I navigate this. So I selected 2 brokers and 1 charter operator to work with who could advise me. And each partner provided me with multiple aircraft options with pictures of interiors and exteriors. Options like the Citation 10, XLS or Bravo. Also the Praetor 500, the PC-24, Lear 60, the Hawker 800 or 900 XP, and others as well. To say it was overwhelming would be an understatement. The Citation XLS really caught my eye because it was a relatively brand new aircraft. The interior looked exquisite, but as I looked at the pictures, I felt the cabin width looked a little bit smaller than I wanted, and the seats looked a little less luxurious, I guess would be the right word. So I decided maybe I need to look at a bigger cabin, and that, of course, I also needed to make sure that it had a private, fully enclosed bathroom. I also decided that in some options, which they said, well, the eighth person will have to belt in on the toilet seat for takeoff and landing, that was a no-go for me right from the start. So that's when I made the best decision yet, and that was to stop looking at YouTube and stop looking at pictures of all the cabins. The pictures could be very deceiving. So I arranged to visit with a charter operator and see the jets firsthand, be able to sit in the seats and really experience it. And as I had hoped, in about 30 minutes, the best option became immediately clear. The Hawker was exactly what I was looking for. It had a wide and relatively tall cabin, allowing for an executive experience. The seats were first class, the lavatory was better than I expected, and the aircraft appearance was everything I had envisioned. The one constraint, I was told, is the Hawker has no external baggage compartment, so I had to make sure that the interior baggage hold could store all of our luggage. Remember, there were 8 of us, and it did. So my choice was made. So the next decision was the service provider. All 3 I dealt with were responsive, professional, and all had the safety ratings I required. So in the end, all would have been a great choice. But I decided to go with the low-cost provider, who was also a broker that a respected friend of mine had referred me to. I suspect all 3 would have provided some nice extras in addition to just arranging for the airplane. So in this case, I asked the broker if I could bring on some champagne and orange juice to make mimosas. And he said, don't even think about it. He would provide that at no charge. Then I asked him if he could arrange for a ride from the airplane to our Airbnb. A few minutes later, he had arranged it. By the way, as an aside, he tracked our progress and texted with the crew, even texted me once to ensure that he knew exactly when we would arrive, and he had our ride waiting plainside just prior to our arrival. We were on our way to the Airbnb within minutes of landing. You know what? I could get used to that kind of service. So now I want to share some of those moments with you so that you get a sense of what the experience was like. Let's take a look. So just arrived at Signature Flight Support and getting ready to head over to Cedar Rapids to pick up one of my sons, his wife, and their 4 kids. Very excited. First time experience for me. So let's go in and check it out. This is cool. That's a pretty jet. Thanks. You painted it yourself, right?
How long have you been doing this? I got my license in '81, and I was a Delta for 20 years before this.
Of course, the experience started with meeting the crew. Mark, the captain, and Sam, the first officer, were everything I could hope for. Very accommodating, friendly, professional, and involved my family in the experience. My first reaction to the interior? Perfection. What do you think?
Neat.
Even my wife liked it. Oh my God.
Ground, All-Star 620, information officer, ready to taxi.
All-Star 620, ground, runway 16, taxi via Kilo.
16 via Kilo, All-Star 620.
As we taxied on Kilo heading out to 16, it occurred to me, I had been on this taxiway hundreds of times before, but never with this view or feeling. The sights and sounds reminded me of being on an airliner. It just didn't compute. And the feeling that I had was one of anticipation and excitement. It was awesome.
All-Star 620, executive ready.
We are ready, All-Star 620.
All-Star 620, turn left heading 040. Touch your tail within a half mile of the departure rate. Runway 16. Clear for takeoff. Wind is 190 at 20, gust 25.
Left turn 04016, clear for takeoff, All-Star 620.
anticipation of my impending guests, I wanted to do a quick tour of the place and invite you to join me. You see the baggage hold to the right there, but more important, I wanted to get a look at the galley. And so up on top, even though we don't drink a lot of hard liquor, it certainly was stocked with the same. And then underneath there, you can find the microwave. There was also coffee service. It's crazy. I don't drink hard liquor and I don't drink coffee. I don't know what's wrong with me. But they did have the champagne flutes and the an extra bottle of white wine there for us as a gift, if you will. Below that in the drawers, of course, the all-important snacks start at the top. And my wife just loves dark chocolate Milanos, so I took a second to show her that they were packed for her. Below that were two drawers full of drinks. For first one is pop, or as some of you may call soda, over on the right, carbonated drinks, and also the orange juice and champagne for the mimosas we asked for. And then more carbonated drinks, carbonated water and sugar drinks are found in the bottom. And then there was a drawer for the garbage. So that was all in order, and then had to take a quick peek at the cockpit. You know, it's interesting. Normally I just want to be up there, but for this trip I was very content to be in the back, and I wanted to spend the time with my family. And I guess a little unusual for me, did not want to kick the guy out of the right seat and let me join. So walking back, of course, wanted to check that the lavatory was acceptable. Probably as nice as the one in my house, maybe not as big. From there, the baggage hold in the back was for additional, but it looked like it was being used by the crew. And then they take a peek there. And then behind the last seat, there was a life raft. Great seats, fully reclining, like you'd get in any first class seat. Off to behind me, you saw it before, was the couch, which will house 3 of my grandsons. And then the club seating. What I really like about these seats, which I've seen in other airplanes, is there's a control on the right armrest that when you lift it up, as you see I'm doing there, the seat will actually slide toward the center if you want, or at the very least, can rotate toward the center. 461 miles an hour at 28,000 feet for our 30-minute flight. Of course, the actual flight is only part of the experience. Just arriving into an FBO and having that private terminal feel, I thought would be really cool for the family. And I think they were really enjoying it. And of course, being an Iowa grad, I had to take note of the Herky the Hawk here at the Cedar Rapids Airport. But let's go flying.
And then at the end, there's 2 different boats that go together.
Hey, Blake.
Dousage of it in water, optional. So I'm heading to the I like that.
Addison.
I don't want to get wet. Yeah.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be days.
Is it going to
see where we are, guys? See a little strip laying really close. We don't need no Pensacola or Mobile. Go right to it. 100. Listen, you didn't have it go. Beautiful.
You know, in the end, it was a very expensive investment, and I use the term investment on purpose, but it was worth every penny. The travel, combined with a wonderful week-long celebration as a family for all 12 of us, created memories that we'll all have and will all last a lifetime, if not even multi-generational. I encourage you all to create your memories, and if you can make general aviation a part of it, and you love aviation like I do, I know you'll be happy with the result. And of course, as always, blue skies and tailwinds.